Good evening, Commonwealth, and thanks for watching the Channel 2 News. I'm Sally Limis filling in for Ashley McDowell. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. The public school system has officially run out of money. Also tonight, a project extending the capacity of the hospital has begun. And the Marianas continues to receive thousands of resources used to help combat COVID-19. Stay with us. These stories and more are next.
My family is on whole home Wi-Fi powered by Plume.
Since we installed the Docomo whole home Wi-Fi, what did you guys notice about it?
When you pull up the driveway, it automatically connects, and I don't have to get out of my car right away and come upstairs to go on my phone.
My favorite thing is that it doesn't buffer when I'm watching YouTube.
My favorite thing is that when Addie calls now, there's no lag. Like before, it used to be where I couldn't see her sometimes and I have to hang up and then call her back, and now I don't have to do that.
You know what's a good thing too is that when you come over to visit, I could give you your own password. I can assign a time limit so that I can say that you can only be on it for 1 hour. So that means you won't get in trouble from your mom.
And then you can go home.
The thing that I love the most is that I can freeze the internet for periods of time so that we can enjoy dinner time like this. Why are you rolling your eyes? So I'll turn it back on after dinner. Whole home Wi-Fi powered by Plume. Docomo Pacific, better together.
Half a day to Yarwami and good evening, Commonwealth. Today is April 10, 2020. It is a payless payday for over 800 public school employees. The Commissioner of Education sent out a memo on April 9 informing employees of the inability to make payroll for all locally funded PSS employees, which leaves 866 individuals with a payless Friday. Dr. Alfred Atta says the reason is due to the unavailability of funds prompted by the current economic and financial crisis. But Atta says as soon as PSS receives the proper funding, they will immediately pay out the remaining 30% from their last paycheck and a 100% coverage of today's pay period. Federally funded personnel, on the other hand, will receive their full pay that was scheduled for today. Sources reveal that PSS received a letter from the Secretary of Finance, David Atalik, stating that they will not pay any more money and claim that they had completed their obligation. As of press time, KSPN was not able to have this confirmed by Finance Secretary Atalik, but stay with us as this story will further develop. The CNMI is not spared from the economic damages happening around the world. Governor Torres speaks on the one-year furlough of government employees. The worldwide economic response to the COVID-19 pandemic worsens every day. Here in the CNMI, the government is forced to cut 50% of its personnel costs just to keep the government afloat. Governor Ralph Torres says cabinet members have already submitted the list of employees who will be furloughed.
The notice will be out next week. And then it will be soon after that. I believe it's 7 days after 7 to depends on when we turn that in. But back to the reduction. Obviously, this is where you look at what are priorities, and those priorities, of course, would be our first responders, especially with what we are experiencing today. So no one should expect 50% reduction at DPS or fire or those that are, especially those that are under the COVID assistance or operation.
The Sinamay will not receive any tourists for the remainder of the year and even possibly most of next year. This may lead to more cuts, but Governor Torres says they are keeping close contact with the U.S. Department of Labor to get clarity on guidelines for financial aid.
This is an opportunity for everybody to avail on the PUA, which is the Pandemic Unemployed Assistance. And we are trying to get into those exact brackets so we can help our community, those that are laid off or furloughed, on how to assist and what to expect and what are the requirements. But again, decisions have to be made. Our revenue is down more than 50%, and we need to make those adjustments now.
I'm Sally Lemes for KSPN News.
Inside Saipan International Airport last Sunday, just a few passengers for the last flight out. The once bustling airport will not have any more scheduled flights for the month of April.
Mel will continue to come in by cargo plane, and Star Marianas will handle emergency medical evacuations. But according to their general manager, Sean Christian, they don't know if they will be able to handle any normal passengers or charter flights due to the current situation of Guam. United continues to cut capacity worldwide. For now, the Guam-Hawaii route is operating, and Guam to Japan is operating 3 days per week. On Sunday, after a safety briefing, these passengers buckle up and get ready for takeoff.
Thank you, and enjoy your flight.
Do have a pleasant flight, and may the force be with you.
Takeoff is smooth. The plane flies south over the Hawaiian Rock Quarry area, and then further south over Nafton Point, and then on over Tinian. 29 minutes later, it is a rainy landing on Guam. And touchdown is a bumpy one. Passengers depart the plane but face a mandatory 14-day quarantine on Guam. Health officials meet the passengers, and then the first station is a temperature check. Passengers go through one group at a time, and this instrument gives officials a readout that will show any elevated temperatures. Next, the passengers are seated 6 feet apart in an airport waiting room, awaiting further instructions. Your meals will be provided for you.
You will receive breakfast at 8 o'clock, lunch at 12 o'clock, and dinner at 6 o'clock. Transiting passengers, you will receive meals as long as you're here as well.
After the briefing, the passengers are led to school buses that take them to a nearby hotel. Just 6 people per bus to ensure social distancing. The Wyndham Hotel has been taken over by the government of Guam to provide temporary quarantine facilities. Sailors from the Teddy Roosevelt are currently being housed at two-man hotels like the Pacific Islands Club and Hilton.
The Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation is turning their upper-level parking into a field hospital.
Governor Ralph Torres announced through a Facebook video the commencement of a project to build a temporary hospital specifically for COVID-19 patients. The field hospital will serve as a preparedness and infection control measure in the event of a mass number of patients who will need isolated hospital care due to COVID-19. Governor Torres, in his video, states the construction for the tent has begun and will hopefully be set up by Saturday. Although the hospital's capacity has not been reached yet, the tent will be able to hold 50 beds for further care of patients. According to the CNMI office of the governor's Facebook page, the CNMI is reported to be the first U.S. territory to set up a field hospital. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, FEMA, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Department of Defense continues to support the Marianas by sending many resources for the combat against this pandemic.
Residents of Saipan witnessed another shocking episode of an unfamiliar object falling from the sky.
On Thursday night, videos of what spectators called as a huge fireball shooting down from the sky went viral on social media. As you can see on the video, the image is bright red and pretty frightening, especially under our current situation. According to the CNMI Homeland Security and Emergency Management Agency, the unidentified object is likely connected to a scheduled test launch from China. This is not new to the CNMI, as a familiar situation occurred on December of last year. Open sources report that a Chinese Long March 3B rocket was scheduled to launch the Palapa N1 communication satellite, also known as Nusantara Satu 2, from the Xichang Satellite Launch Center in China. This scheduled space launch occurred around 9:40 a.m. Chinese Standard Time and corresponds with the timing of the circulated videos. Homeland Security assures the public there was no threat assessed to the Marianas from the launch. More supplies to help combat the spread of COVID-19 makes its way into the Commonwealth. Over the weekend, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Service, along with the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, delivered hundreds of equipment and supplies to the CNMI. The help did not and will not stop there.
At 7 o'clock in the morning, I was up at the airport along with Chair Warren Villagomez. We saw new supplies that came in, more gowns for doctors and nurses, more supplies for them. So I want to thank again President Trump, FEMA, and HHS, CDC, and those that have worked on getting the transport here for our supplies. So we'll be seeing more this weekend. We have more supplies coming in, over 500,000 PPEs, gowns, again more supplies, and we wanted to assure our first responders, our nurses and doctors, and the community that we will make sure and we continue to work hard that their supplies are here on island, and that they will not be shortened on what they need to do in order for them to provide our health care for the community.
Chairman of the COVID-19 Task Force, Warren Villagomez, says based on the medical countermeasure requirements and the federal government toolkit for first responders, the CNMI has adequate supplies to furnish the frontliners in all 3 islands.
Governor Torres and Lieutenant Governor Palacios and of course CEO Muña, we sit down every day and look at the burn rate, of our supplies, and make sure we're making sure that we are not short in any way that we compromise responder safety.
A male is arrested for disturbing the peace and criminal mischief, while also breaking the curfew law. During the early hours of Thursday, April 9, police officers were conducting a routine patrol through the village of Chalancanoa and were flagged down by an elderly man who informed the officers that he has just called for police assistance for his neighbor. Police made their way to the witness's apartment to verify that they were okay and unharmed. The witness stated that he and his girlfriend were asleep and was awakened by a creaking noise. They turned to see that their window was opening slowly. As the witness approached the window, he noticed a heavy-built, dark-complexioned male wearing orange shorts and a gray t-shirt who was running away. A few moments later, the witness decided to take out the trash and noticed the same individual he saw walking. As soon as the suspect was close enough to see the witness's face, he fled towards a neighboring unit and the witness called for police. Other responding units were able to locate the suspect within a neighboring unit, and around 4:30 a.m., the subject was identified as Stanis Defang, who was arrested and transported to the Department of Corrections where he was booked and detained. The CNMI Department of Public Safety highly encourages the public to call 911 anytime to report a crime or emergency. Coming up, Helping Hands deliver care packages to struggling homes. Stay tuned.
Mom, are you sure? What about the shutters? And do you have your medicine?
Don't worry about us, love, okay? You take good care of yourself. Hi, my love. Yeah, sorry. The power went out, so I had to light up all the candles. Yeah. Yes, baby, yeah. I'm just glad our home phone's working and we're able to contact you.
Welcome to the Marianas Eye Institute. Our office on Beach Road is staffed with U.S. certified eye care technicians, doctors that have received national recognition, and a friendly, professional staff that will look after you and your loved ones. With over 1,200 eyeglass frames to choose from and an in-house lab, we can make most glasses in about an hour, and we even feature a mobile clinic to bring eye care to you. Keep your eyes healthy and strong with professional eye care at the Marianas Eye Institute.
Welcome back to the Channel 2 News. Hundreds of care packages go out to struggling families during these trying times, all thanks to the Elan Group of the CNMI. Together, we can be stronger. The Elan organization sends this message to the people of the Commonwealth as they deliver help to many families.
We understand how important it is to help each other when time is difficult. And then we will continue to do so. And then, it's a very difficult time for a lot of people. And then without, get this over together, there's no tomorrow for the company like us. So it is important that we do our parts. And then hopefully we can do more of these. And then again, we're glad to be part of this. And then hopefully we can get over this as a community together.
Elan donates 445 relief packages to families in the CNMI. Each package contains a 10-pound rice bag, canned goods, butane gas, and rolls of toilet paper.
This donation is targeting to the families with vulnerability, but since that we don't have the knowledge like how to access them, the DCCA team agreed to partner up with us, and then they will be the one who is in charge of distribution.
In partnership with the Department of Community and Cultural Affairs, specifically the Nutrition Assistance Program, Director Walter Marcaranas says they are grateful for this kind gift.
The NAP graciously accepted the generous donation of the food and essential commodities from our Elan group. And the donated items will be distributed to NAP households on Saipan who receive the most limited amount of NAP benefits issued to them. So we will be distributing this to our NAP recipients, who, starting with those who have who has received the very lowest amount of benefits, and then of course we'll be working our way up to.
Macarana says households who have a benefit of $150 or less will be likely to receive the packages, which will be distributed next month. Governor Ralph Torres and Lieutenant Governor Arnold Palacios honored the donation and extends their gratitude to the Elan organization.
With this gesture today, again, it's going to help families get through their day today, and I truly appreciate it on behalf of the people of the CNMI. Thank you for your partnership.
Reporting for KSPN News, I'm Sally Limis. On Guam, the Governor's Advisory Group discusses the forecast of COVID-19 cases for the next couple of months. KUAM reports.
Hafaday CNMI, here's what's making news on Guam. The Governor's Physicians Advisory Group met last night to go over the latest numbers for COVID-19 on Guam and rapid test kits that are on the way. Sabrina Salas-Matanani reports.
Dr. Felix Cabrera has been the bearer of bad news when it comes to the COVID-19 trajectory for Guam.
And our trajectory right now is, I would say, optimistically better.
During Dr. Cabrera's presentation last week, the trajectory showed a best-case scenario of 700 deaths in the next several months, but that's only if the current spread is reduced by 50%. The worst-case scenario, a projected 3,000 deaths if we only reduce the spread by 20%.
We are adjusting our worst plausible, case scenario. And that's looking a little bit better.
But that's not something to celebrate because the numbers only reflect a period of time, or specifically what Guam has been doing to contain COVID over the last 2 weeks.
It's like the same thing as saying, we know there's a super typhoon that's, several hundred miles away or 1,000 miles away. And it was raining. It was raining yesterday, and it's sunny today.
Dr. Cabrera warning forecasts can change on any given day.
Just because there's a few cases that come up positive, from the day before or what have you, that's because we did good stuff, 2 weeks ago, and when you see a spike up in cases, that's probably because we relaxed 2 weeks ago.
It's all the more reason everyone should remain extremely vigilant, practice social distancing, wash your hands, mask up, and more importantly, stay home. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Sabrina Salas-Matanani.
The Physicians Advisory Group will be discussing rapid test kits that will be arriving to Guam and how they will be deployed. Members of the group say the rapid test kits are not finite, but are intended for use as a tool to assist in diagnosis. You can watch the entire interview with Dr. Cabrera on our YouTube channel. Stay informed 24/7 by checking out KOAM.com or downloading the KOAM News app, available for iOS or Android. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lacanto.
Stay tuned for the weather forecast after the break.
At one of Saipan's beaches, this mother lays about 100 eggs under the cover of darkness. She hides her nest as best she can and then slowly makes her way back to the ocean. The eggs hatch and the babies head for the sea, where they will face a daily dose of danger. Just 1 in 1,000 will make it to adulthood. Those that do will one day lay their own eggs. Sea turtles are protected under CNMI law. If you see one that is stranded or if you see illegal activity, call the hotline at 287-8537.
My family is on whole home Wi-Fi powered by Plume.
Since we installed the Docomo whole home Wi-Fi, what did you guys notice about it?
When you pull up the driveway, it automatically connects, and I don't have to get out of my car right away and come upstairs to go on my phone.
My favorite thing is that it doesn't buffer when I'm watching YouTube.
My favorite thing is that when Addie calls now, there's no lag. Like before it used to be where I couldn't see her sometimes and I have to hang up and then call her back, and now I don't have to do that.
You know what's a good thing too is that when you come over to visit, I could give you your own password. I can assign a time limit so that I can say that you can only be on it for 1 hour. So that means you won't get in trouble from your mom.
And then you can go home.
The thing that I love the most is that I can freeze the internet for periods of time so that we can enjoy dinner time like this. Why are you rolling your eyes? So I'll turn it back on after dinner. Whole home Wi-Fi powered by Plume. Docomo Pacific, better together.
Today's weather is partly cloudy with a slight chance of light showers. East winds 5 to 10 miles per hour, high 89, low 77. And for the weekend, it's going to be partly cloudy with isolated showers. Southeast winds 10 to 15 miles per hour, high 89, low 77. Thank you for tuning in to the Friday edition of our newscast. Before we end, I would like to wish our anchor, Ashley McDowell, and video journalist Delbert Camacho a very happy birthday. Have a great weekend and happy Easter to all of you.